Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me for this segment of Friday with Father Ron. Hope all of you had a beautiful Independence Day celebration and received some rest with this extended holiday, probably for many of us, that Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So happy Independence Day to all of us, and continued prayers for our beautiful country, for the courage of our founders, and really the stability of really just peace in our own land and throughout the world. So happy Independence Day, everybody. Just the little health update. So I will be next week on week 6, so which is the time that I should be able to bend my knee 90 degrees. So I am able to bend my knee while I'm sitting or lying down in my PT sessions, or if I want to just do that throughout the day. I'm still within the 6 weeks, which is really the protective stage of making sure that that tendon gets stretched and exercised, but not overdone by putting weight on it, while I'm bending it. So hopefully I'll be able to drive, if I can, if I'm allowed to bend my knee 90 degrees, if that's enough to get into my car, swing my car into my leg into the car. So I'm a little excited about that. It's wonderful to rely on other people. It's a good lesson for me as I recover some of the things learned about oneself when you're really dependent on other people. But still, it would be good to get back to driving again. I have a doctor's appointment on Tuesday, my second follow-up from surgery. So Dr. Scarcella at the clinic, who is my surgeon, he will give me kind of the thumbs up as far as what I'm able to do here in the next few weeks. So as I mentioned earlier, my physical therapy are in 2-week bands, like 0 to 2, and then 2 to 4, 4 to 6. So I'm in the 4 to 6 band of exercises. So in the month of July, I've been going twice a week and then doing my PT at home. When I don't have physical therapy at the T3 UH facility here in Avon. So that's all really proceeding very nicely. I'm at 80% bend in my leg as of my physical therapy yesterday on Thursday. So that's all really progressing really well. I am still using the walker in the sanctuary, stepping down without a handrail. Still a little bit, I feel a little tricky. So Carolyn, our sacristan, helps me to go down. I still can't carry the gospel book, those kinds of things, I need to be careful not to trip and fall, especially with all those hard surfaces. And I am distributing Holy Communion again to the assembly, which has been a real blessing. On a stool, it's great looking people in the eye. I'm a little lower, so that's been just a real blessing for me to be able to, once again, use the ramps in the church and get down to receive or to distribute Holy Communion. So thank you for all of your prayers. Really, the latter part of July, I'll move away from the protective stage of my tendon to a little bit more physical activity for my knee. Most of my exercises are really to continue to strengthen my quadricep, which was detached from my patella tendon, and so that I'm able to stand better. And it's amazing how quickly our muscles atrophy. So I haven't had a haircut since May 26th, which was, I had a haircut right before that. So I need a haircut, but I can't drive out to get one. So I'm just going to be patient about that as well. So upcoming this week is another early bird special. So early bird raffle. So if you'd like to get some raffle tickets turned in, that's always a big help to support all of the structural things around our outdoor carnival. When you rent tents, we don't rent a lot of furnishings because we have so much, but our white chairs we use in the parish center don't come outside, just to keep them nice for the indoor use. So we're going to rent some chairs this year, some outdoor umbrella tables. We have a number of folding chairs that we use for masses outside, mass in the grass, but we only have a couple hundred of those. So, I've ordered all the furnishings, the tents, and the early bird raffle and the sponsors really help to cover those costs. We're blessed that we don't need to have this included in our revenue budget, but anything that we do make certainly helps with all the different kind of ministry that we have here at St. Joseph Parish. Even though we don't depend on it, that's a blessing. We've been able to move away from, especially these outdoor events, putting in a number in our budget saying like $30,000, because it's really difficult to know how it's going to go with the weather. So thank you for your sponsorship, your purchase of raffle tickets. We're looking for baskets for the basket sale. We're going to have a bake sale that you can drop off the bakery on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of the event. Soon in the city, you'll see some banners go up. We'll be putting the banners at the entrances of the parking lot here coming up next week. So again, thank you for all of that. Make sure you get your raffle tickets in. We will have the raffle sometime on Wednesday afternoon. So if you can get them in by noon on Wednesday, so we can make sure they are counted and pulled apart and put in the raffle bin, I would be really grateful for that. You'll notice in the bulletin this week, as it was last week, that we are going to be starting both on this prayer area outside, which is funded by the Heart of the Shepherd. So thank you for that. We have the money that we need for that project set aside. And so some statues, a prayer area, eventually some landscaping around all of that, probably not till next spring. And then we're going to also add an addition onto the parish office to make it more handicap accessible, as well as more secure for our staff members. So there's a lot of just a little information about that in the parish bulletin in my Father Ron's Corner. This has been a project we've been working on since COVID. And every time I get bids, this is like the third option here that we're doing. The rectory sits out of the ground pretty far. And for every inch of elevation out of the ground, we need a foot of grade for a disabled ramp for a wheelchair. So it would be really, really big. And it would probably head towards that tabernacle window and then switch back. When we looked at the cost of all of that brick, masons are very expensive. Brick is very expensive. It just became unaffordable. We'd want to have a little bit of a porch on the top of the ramp. So if somebody's trying to get in the building, they wouldn't get rained upon. So, and then we threw out the bid again after COVID, thinking that pricing of construction would go down. That did not happen. As you know, I have a firm commitment as the pastor that we never do a project unless it's funded completely. So the construction of this project is funded completely. We will need to raise a little bit of money for some of the interior finishes, but most important thing is that we get this building built this season. It could be usable, even though it might not be completely furnished or wallpapered or anything like that. So we're very grateful for the government funding that we received from the second round of COVID relief that we set aside last fiscal year for this project. And as needs come available, we will certainly make those known to you. You're always very generous to help with those things. So this coming week, they're going to start setting up the site for the construction of this little 500 square foot office foyer. And again, as I noted in the my Father Ron's Corner, two main issues to address: accessibility and also safety, to create a little bit of a barrier between people who are coming in to visit and our office staff. We have a lot of women that work here, especially on the first floor. And currently, as soon as somebody is in the building they're in, there's no separation from them if they want to do them harm. Unfortunately, you never know when that might happen. There really is no protection of a barrier for them. So again, this has been something that I've been praying about for a few years, bringing it to the attention of the Finance Council. But because it was unaffordable, we never acted. But with this ERC money, we felt that this would be a good use for it. And I'll put some more information in the bulletin. We've done a great job at also simultaneously paying down the mortgage we're on track with the 10-year having it all paid up. So we're working really diligently with the Finance Council to make sure that our parish is on firm financial footing, that we don't do anything that we can't afford, that we keep our expenses in line with our revenue. So all of those things are such big priorities for me as the pastor, as it is for our Finance Council as well. So I'm just going to share this screen with you. It's on, so you can see this. Probably a picture is worth 1,000 words here. So this is what the addition looks like. I joked a lot about for $225,000, which was like the bare minimum of this ramp and stairs and a little covering. We could build a little room onto our building. We could build a little house. So that's sort of me joking about that with some of the staff members and Finance Council. It's actually sort of what turned out to be. The architect is Rick Ziska, his father, and Rick himself and his dad designed the parish center, the church, the school addition. So there's a priority that it has some resemblance to tie this office building, which used to be the rectory, into the church. So we've added some brown siding on the addition that Father O'Connor added, like in the early 90s, to tie that in. So it's not white. We don't have anything white vinyl here. So this is a beautiful rendering of what it will look like from when you walk out the north door. When we're directing somebody to the office from the gathering area, they'll be able to see that entranceway right there. So that's really a high priority. I put it in the south side after much conversation about where this entrance should be to get people out of the wind and rain in the winter as quickly as possible. And as you know, those parking spaces that are right by the office, half of them are for people with disabilities and the other half are just for visitors. So that parking there is very, very close to the entrance as well. So you'll enter that building. There'll be a set of stairs with handrails. I'm learning with having my own leg surgery and my tendon surgery that handrails are really important and that they be close together. So people can walk up the stairs, and then there'll be a wheelchair lift. So you can roll right onto the lift to close the gate behind you, which will be automatic. And then you can just be picked up to the landing and then go into, it's an office that's small, but that'll be like the waiting room. It has a Dutch door on the inside, so we can have a barrier. They'll need to be rung into the lower part to be greeted, so that whoever is answering the door knows who the visitor is. That'll be all electronic. And then on the right side of this, that's literally a peak. It's one-dimensional. You can't really see, but it'll look like the tabernacle point. There'll be a small room for private conversation. So sometimes when people visit and they have something very personal, our offices here are not designed with a ton of privacy, so we can follow the guidelines with the safety and protection of children. So most of our doors have glass. It's an old house, so the rooms that are offices are mostly original bedrooms. So I thought it was important to have a space that if somebody needed a private conversation without entering the office, walking by whoever might be in the office, that we provide that. Also, we've had trained spiritual directors, and sometimes they need to meet with people in a private manner. They've been using our confessionals for that. But if there's a funeral or something going on in church, again, that's not always very possible. So there'll be a room available for individual spiritual direction for people, and they can enter the office area without entering the rest of the building. No one's allowed in the office building unless a staff member is with them because of all the personal private things that we have. We try to lock them up every night, put everything away. But I never want people to be in this building without a staff member. So that will also alleviate that as well. So, a lot of planning has gone into this, trying to get some prices and then, consult with the finance council and the diocese. There's strict guidelines about me proceeding without the bishop's approval. So we've met all of those. We have the money set aside. So here's a beautiful rendition of this 500 square foot addition, and I think that window that's right above it there is operable. So, in case there's a fire on the second floor, we can get out as well. So, over these last years, I've really been trying to make sure that our building is improved. Also we took a closet next to this tiniest little bathroom that was in the parish office, which was really right in the office. I never used it. I always went over to the church to use the restroom, but we were able to move the door to the closet door, make it bigger. It has grab bars. It's ADA compliant, and it really a blessing. I don't go to the second floor with my injuries, so I wouldn't be able to work in the office unless we had that bathroom. And as the clergy gets older, I wanted to make sure there's an office and a restroom that somebody either with a surgical injury or just might need a bigger restroom with grab bars that's in the office building. So we did all of that work during COVID, put vinyl flooring in the first floor and just painted everything. So, and then over the last couple of years, we've also been able to replace all of the windows to make the building more energy efficient. So all of those things have taken place over the last 3 years, and this will be the last thing that we'll do to make our office more accessible as well as more secure, and then have a little bit of privacy for those who really, out of respect for them and the things they're going through, they have a quiet space. And so thank you so much for all of that. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. I know this is a little longer Friday with Father Ron. Because of the timing of this, I feel like we haven't talked about this as much as with other projects, and I want to just catch all of you up. They are going to do some of the site preparation, fencing and things this week. The contract begins on July 15th. They'll be done by December 15th with everything. And then that's the contract. Hopefully it'll be done a little earlier than that. The parishioner, Mr. Mike Cloud and his company, they're being very generous with the price, and we're grateful for their help in making this be possible. And as I said in my Friday with Father Ron, the prayer pavilion, the little prayer area, is going to be done simultaneously while they're doing the brickwork on those columns that hold that little entranceway roof up. They're going to put the columns down for these statues that we have coming. So trying to combine things together so it's the most cost effective and efficient. And again, I'm so grateful for all the many ways that you support our parish with the conclusion of our 75th anniversary campaign, which was reported upon in the bulletin a few weeks ago, part of the Shepherd, which is going to provide the funding for this prayer pavilion and pillars and statues. And then for us really trying to, get all the funding sources we can from the government, the ZRC dollars, to get this project underway. And if we need some money for some furnishings or anything in the building, I'll be certainly to make that known to you, but it won't prohibit us from getting people out of the cold and in the building in a safe fashion. So thank you very much. Remember your raffle tickets. Know how much I love being your pastor. Starting year 11 here as we begin our 75 years of activities as a parish community. I'm excited about our anniversary this coming spring. Let's pray together. The glory be as we honor God today. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. May God bless you, and may you know how much I love being your pastor.